fresh crack of the lemonade on a Tuesday night here on Tackles and Tinnies. But welcome back, guys. Fantasy Files, episode 9. Again, we are flying through its round 17 preview. I've got my co-hosts here, Jakey and Chris. Jakey, how are you pulling up after Big Gary's wedding on the weekend?
Yeah, mate, I reckon I'm still a little bit tired. Yesterday was obviously a bit of a tougher day, but mate, wonderful day. So huge congratulations to both Gary and Sarah. It was a beautiful wedding, but yeah, it was definitely a bit dusty today, and I reckon I'm still a bit tired as well this evening.
Has the tiredness slowed down the spud farming, or you reckon you're still a prime cropter?
Oh, mate, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you watch the mistakes flow. I don't know where it's going to be, but there's always a few. So, yeah, they'll come hot and fast, mate. Just when you're not ready and expecting them, they'll be there.
Oh, mate, I can't say anything. Last episode with Gary, last 5 minutes, my audio cut out and I was a part of the spud farm too. So, who knows? Chris, it's probably your turn tonight. But how are you, mate?
Hey, I'm good, thanks, Ryan. Good to see everybody after last week's hiatus. Yeah, no, congrats to Gary, our co-host, on his wedding the other day. No, I'm excited to talk some Supercoach tonight.
100%. Boys, last week, it was a bit tumultuous. I got some red arrows. I've gone down to 2,846 my season rank. Small arrows only dropped 385 spots. I scored 1,307 points, but devastated that I'm out of the top 1%. I've dropped down to the top 2%, and my team value is at 15.8 mil. I'm in shambles. What's happening, boys? Trades were pretty good, though. I was happy with my trades, and we'll go through that shortly. But how did you go, Chris?
Well, you beat me by 2 measly points last week. I scored 1,305. Yeah, and I got a drop as well. I dropped 404 points to 404 ranks to 2,371. Yeah, no, despite that, I actually had a pretty good week compared to last week. Last week when I was off, I went balls to the walls, and I had Teddy, who scored 95 as my VC, but I went to captain Scotty Drinkwater, and he scored 33. So that was a really painful watch. Yeah. But this week I learnt better, and I captained Teddy, and I did not touch Drinky. So yes, I'm much happier.
Yeah, good man. Jake, how'd you go, mate?
I didn't have a great week, to be honest. Unfortunately, I scored 1173, so probably the lowest score going round, I reckon. I dropped about 4,500 spots as well, so I'm currently sitting at 28,500. So, yeah.
Team value, but what's the team value?
Mate, it's 16.3.
Oh,
just short of it. So it's still up there, but it's given me nothing. It's given me nothing. So, yeah, I'm hurting.
Well, mate, you'll be double hurting after your absolute demolishing by myself in the head-to-head. So,
correct, mate. Yeah, I'm dropping on the head-to-head ladder. Yeah, I'm not in a good spot.
And Chris, I'm pretty sure I beat you in draft as well. So who knows? The host is he knows the most.
You've been having a couple of fire weeks actually. Yeah. Who did you buy in draft? I think you picked up Bradman Best, who went for like 100 plus.
Yeah. Bradman Best popped off. Talakai picked up Talakai. He popped off. Yeah. That's why I'm a host of a podcast, boys. I know what I'm talking about, obviously.
All those cheeky ones that you're avoiding in Classic, mate, you go hunting for in draft.
That's it. 100%.
Yeah, it gives you a taste of it. Good.
The slander is starting at 4 minutes and 15 seconds, but Scumbag Adam picked up Keanu Keeney like 4 weeks early. I was hoping to get him after round 18 because I got Gutho, and he's just absolutely the definition of mediocrity currently. But I was hoping to get a sneaky Keanu Keeney look in. But yeah, Scumbag Adam, standard maneuver, picking him up, and that's why he's one of the best in Australia for Supercoach. So kudos to him getting that early purchase, because he has Jareem Buller, so I guess he definitely is upgraded. Optimal timing with that hamstring that he's pulled as well. He's going to be out 4 weeks. But boys, Supercoach this week, my God, it's good, it's bad, it's stressful. I think the biggest thing, and I'll go straight into it because Jakey and I were talking in the green room, Chris. Now, Karapani, he is in a lot of people's team this week. And again, I'm looking at the top 1% because that's most relevant to me. But Karapani, mate, what are your thoughts? 22% of the top 1% are buying him this week. Would you get him? And then I'll give you my rationale why I'm probably looking at getting him. This is 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, look, honestly, I think you can get him if you really want to. You know, he's on that left wing for the Broncos, and they're absolute firing at the moment. I think the question is whether or not you'll be able to play him enough. You know, I think you'll definitely want to play him in round 18 or so. But in my view, I think you're just better off getting enough. Really, the issue is that let's say you buy him for $290 and he goes up in price. Are you going to trade him out? If you're only playing him from round 18, then I think you're better off getting enough for $198K and pocketing the $90K extra is what I think.
Okay, do you want to hear my smoke and mirrors conversation here? So all day I was like, yep, I'll just preview one of my trades. I was going to go Kiraz straight in, easy trade for Billy Smith because I had all that money in the bank. So I'm like, yep, easy trade. And I'm like, damn, I'm like 30K off with Lawson up to Karapani because that would have obviously been optimal to do that. But I've already got one enough there, so I'm not too keen on doing that. And I'm like trying to think, I really need some cash because like a lot of my positions are pretty set. Like my halfback position set, my 5'8" position set, my front row set. You can arguably say my second row set. So it's really, I'm just going around the margins at the moment, trying to just really beef up that center wing where it's obviously quite volatile, but there's a lot of upside there. Now, Shibasaki is on the Broncos. I wasn't too keen on having two Broncos, and Jakes and I were talking about this in the green room. If I downgrade Shibasaki, who's currently at $603,000, I could downgrade him to Karapani at $290. That frees up the $300K. Could play him all up to around 19, probably gets up to around $500K, maybe even more potentially. And then from there, I could go straight to Lomax. And then I get to
you have
keep
the trades
the guy
to do
like
that. I think that's the biggest problem. Yeah. I think the biggest problem is that will you have trades left to trade him out again? I think that's where the problem lies.
Yes. I'll just be running low.
Oh, not just you, but I think for everybody in general. Everybody in general.
But would you be happy? Like, hear me out. So I got Farmworth, Kiraz, Asako, Garrick, Brimson, and then if I downgrade Shibasaki to, let's say, eventually upgrading to Lomax, and then I'll be able to beef up a second rower like Hosking up to a Hudson Young or a Jacob Preston, then I'm pretty much set and forget for the rest of the season. So I'm obviously Turbo, we'll see how he goes. So I've got about 4 to 5 trades left before my final team's good to go, and I'm done for the whole year. And I obviously only trade out if there's a long-term injury. I've got enough depth in most positions where I can sort of hold fort for a couple of weeks. Again, it's so juicy, and I think having those two Broncos is kind of redundant. And obviously Karapani, we're talking in our group chat as well, that Cobbo's probably gone, and he could be gone any day now, or Adam was saying anyway. And I think he's just out of favour. Like, personally, I don't think he's going to get picked the rest of the year unless there's an injury. He looks pretty safe there on the wing. And again, he's projected at 55 points for 110 points, $110,000 upgrade. Mate, it could just go absolutely gangbusters. I obviously can see why the top 5% and top 1% alone, like 20% of them are doing it. Does my logic make sense considering my team's pretty set and forget, particularly at hooker when I got Jazz Tavanga starting again?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair what you're saying. It will just really be a case of, do you have the trades to trade him out? Like, we just keep getting injury carnage again and again. This week of Fletcher Sharp. Like, next week, when your team is pretty much set, like, who will you have to trade out again? Who's getting injured next week? And so that's where the problem lies. But I guess if, like you said, you can't get Kiraz this week without downgrading somebody, fine, downgrade and you can get Karapani. I don't disagree with that necessarily. I think it makes sense from that view.
Do you think Kiraz is a must-have this week, if that's the case?
Personally, for me, I think he is. I think he's a top 4, CT dub to have by the end of the year. They play Penrith, who are leaky on that left edge. I think that definitely the earlier you get him, the better.
Yeah, Jakey, you've been very quiet. Obviously, very patient there. Rip in, mate. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously we were chatting a little bit earlier, and you're the one looking at your team and everything you're saying. If that aligns for you and it's within your plan, then yeah, that's definitely a great option for you. You can save a lot of money. I think I say it on every week at the moment, but even looking at your round 18 numbers, do you definitely have like that 13 to 14 players, kind of make sure you got that coverage, because that Shibasaki to Karapani is that sideways trade. You're pretty much just getting the same Broncos player there. So if you've got the numbers for over the next 2 weeks as well, looking at the next 2 buys coming up, and you've got a plan in place, then it's a right move. You're going to make a lot of money out of him. Hopefully there's no curse like the Bostock one last week. People chasing some money, chasing some points. That 170 odd was huge, and a lot of people would have brought him in. So yeah, hopefully there's none of that for Karapani. But yeah, if it works for you and you've got a plan, go for it.
Yeah.
And I do like Shibasaki out, obviously a fellow Bronco to another Bronco. You're not doubling down then. So yeah, it sounds good. And yeah, if you've got the plan in place, go for it.
It's spicy. It's very spicy. And it's just the trades. Like if I had 10 trades left after making 2 this week, I'd feel a lot more comfortable doing it. But as you are, Jake, is same as me, mate. You're going to be down to 8 trades. I'm pretty sure Paul as well. He's down to 8 trades. We're getting really, really thin. And again, you said that, Chris, like there's carnage every single week, mate. Like it's just tough. It is so, so tough. But yeah, he's obviously going to be on the radar. Boys, are you looking at him, Chris, Jake, this week?
I'm not personally. I'm definitely on the season keeper and Nuff lookout. I only want to start. I'm down to, I'll be, after making my 2 trades, I'll be on 8 trades this week. And that's if I definitely commit to 2. But I'm got a similar mindset to you, Ryan. I'm forward thinking, trying to plan. Yeah, I'm looking to bring in Tedesco next week. That's kind of the main player I don't have yet. And yeah, he's obviously number 1 on my watch list for me. He's definitely been the best performing in the fullback, I feel, over the past month or 2, easily. Pappenhausen's kind of died off. He hurt me over the weekend. He was my captain, only got 60. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at Enough and Kiraz this week, essentially. So they're roughly my 2 trades. And and that's for me, because that allows me full stop, bit of money in the bank, and get to go for the superstars, those season keepers.
Yep.
But Karapani for me, no.
Yeah, no, he's not on my radar either. He could have been potentially, but I'm actually doing the exact same thing as Jake this week. But the only issue is that I was planning to only just trade in Kiraz this week, and just save a trade. But Mamazulis got named at 14 for the Bunnies, and I think I don't see him going back to playing 90 again, especially if Brandon Smith coming into the team probably next month for the Rabbits. So I'm going to have to nuff him out now whilst he's still got maximum value. So I'm probably going to go Kalani Goings for that, and then work it out somehow instead. I could nuff out somebody like Adam Dewey, who I still for some reason can't seem to get rid of. and like I said, bring him down to Karapani. But the thing is, it's the extra 90k. I don't know if I'll need it yet, but last thing I want to do is find out in a couple of weeks. I want to make a trade, and if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't have that extra 90k, I would have been able to make that trade, especially now trades going low. I think it's just to be safer. Yeah.
Is Adam Dewey at 5'8" or centre wing for you currently?
He's at centre wing for me.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough.
He scored 69 last week. He was actually pretty good,
All right. Get your Tigers hat off, mate. Speak the truth.
We almost won last week.
Yeah, true.
You'd prefer Dewey in your centre wing though. You don't want him kind of hogging up one of those 5'8" spots, I think. And then you could even hold him for the meantime, Chris. He'll be playing for you next week. So
Well, that's
depending on who
exactly
you have
right.
at those 5/8s
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
just it's all about kind of finding those right opportunities to buy and sell, essentially.
Yep.
So 69, mate. That's good for Dewey. So I'd be taking that for sure.
I wish I had taken it. I didn't put the
Yeah,
reserve on him.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So
7. I'm counting out how many boys I've got for next week. I think I'm gonna have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12. So if I go Katoga upgrade somewhere, it'll get me to 13. I think I'll just have to ride with that because obviously Nathan Lawson, I was banking on him playing, but obviously he's been essentially nuffed out now, which is not optimal. Yeah, Chris, how many boys you got for next week?
I've got 14
Oh,
at the moment.
look at you, king. Jake, how many you got?
I've reversed my 2 trades at the moment, and without making any trades, I'll have 12 for next week.
Similar.
So
Yep.
sitting pretty well.
Yep. Now, boys, I think we start looking at some players of interest, and I'm just having a look on my screen. So we've obviously got guys like Karapani. What are our thoughts on some other players of interest? Chris, you got some names for me?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Kiraz is the first one we talk about, and I think we did talk a little about him. But I think in my view, he's a definitely must buy. He comes to a really, really good draw. Similar another guy who comes into a really, really good draw on the same team, Viliami Kikau. Are you guys interested at all?
Like, out of annoyance, I can't do it because you guys talked me out of kick out weeks ago, and I was like, he's like 550k. You're like, don't get kick out. Now he's gone up in price, and now his break even so low. But yeah, that's the same logic of Jacob Preston, mate. Just getting one of those back rowers from the Bulldogs and one of arguably the best team in the comp. Got Lockie Galvin there now, so another dynamo providing some ball to him. Yeah, I love that shout. That's a great shout, Chris.
Yeah, and then the other one this week, I think that a lot of people are going to start thinking about as well and it's basically what's on the back of Sandon Smith last week getting his injury. People thinking about getting in their end of year hooker, and that's either Harry Grant or Blake Fraley or Connor Watson. I actually really like Harry Grant because he's now bottomed out. He's found some form, in his last 2 weeks, and during Origin, and he backed up from Perth on Saturday. So I think you can be pretty confident he'll back up in round 19. I know he doesn't play 18, but if you want to trade out Sanders Smith now, nowadays he's on the buy, might be a perfect time, really.
Chris, I think you missed a player. Jazz Tavanga is the absolute GOAT. He's starting hooker for Manly. He's back, baby. He's going to be averaging 60. His points per minute is unreal. Have faith. Get Jazzy.
Hey, Jazz, you need to be going Sam McIntyre, Chris.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a hooker. He's that step-in man for Robson. So
That's true. Jake, any boys of interest for you this week?
Look, definitely my main one is Kiraz, just with that round 18 buy coverage as well. A man I don't have, which, he's definitely the best in form in that centre wing at the moment is Herbie. So for those that don't have him, I would love to somehow bring in Herbie. But once again, I am happy to sit because he won't be playing that round 18. But he's going to be cracking 900k for sure. He's got a break even at 47. He's going 100 plus again, the way he's going.
Oh,
Look, I know we'll speak about Karapani. I personally am not bringing him in, but I think one worth talking about is Jed Stewart.
Yep.
If you're looking for someone to play, but he's definitely a risky one. I don't see him being a high scoring player for them at the moment. He's there after Hopewadi with the injury, now Tamale with the injury as well. So he's got his opportunity through that. Raiders are a great team though, so he has that potential to score big, but I am ready for him to be like a bit of a nightmare, which I think we've all discussed on the side too. Quickly looking, there's not really anyone that's really catching my eye too much except for Kiraz personally. Looking at centre wings as well, bit of a pod one in a way who can provide some good coverage. Could be Murray Tuilagi for the Cows. If you don't see him making Queensland, which I don't think he will, he's kind of missed his opportunity this year with his injury niggles. That's probably one that I just saw that I wouldn't mind as well. Yeah, Grant, that was another great one there, Chris. For those people that do need a hooker, yeah, I'd probably be picking Grant. I know there's a lot of talk around people having the entire Storm spine. I know that's being thrown around.
That's me.
But yeah, I'm all for it though. I know Storm, we've discussed in the past, they just share their points around. So between Munster, Hughes, Pappy, and then if you bring in Grant or whatnot, they're players that they're going to get you at least 50 surely, nearly every single week. They have so much potential to go big though.
Yeah.
They're try scoring machines at times. So yeah, for me, my favourite's probably Grant. But yeah, no one's really jumping out for me this week, personally. Yeah, I'm just completely focused on bringing in Kiraz. He's a season keeper for me. Got that round 18 buy coverage, and then I'll be looking past the Origin buy period and start getting some lock-in trades after that.
Yeah, I do really like your Murray Taulagi shout, Jake, because he was absolutely killing it. He was averaging like close to like 85, 90 for a while when the Cowboys had their run. And this week, Jackson Purdue's back at left center, which is when he made that run. So I think that the Cowboys will have a lot better attack down that left wing, and he'll probably score a couple more tries yet. Yeah, I really like that. He's in my draft team, and I'm pretty excited, for this week against the Titans.
That's it, mate. The Queenslander, he does some good work. I know he's not in the team, but he'll do some good work.
100%. I think it's kind of hard this week because like guys who are potentially relevant have huge BEs. So it's like, oh, do I just wait a week? But then you wait a week, they have the bias, and it's like not until around 19. So there's a guy on my list here as well. And now with the news that Willie White is now at fullback, do we have love for him even with that 120 BE, which is very much deterred me because I'm trying to make some cash. Chris, what are your thoughts on Lehigh?
Yeah, I think he's become a good pod actually ever since his HIA. I think it's hard to buy him because I just don't think he's your one of your top 4 or 5 CT dubs that finished a year. You're wasting a trade to get him in. That being said, he probably could go potentially massive this week against the Tigers. Given the Manly turmoil. But the problem is that he's always at risk of losing that fullback spot and then being put on the wing again. And we know that Manly get most of their tries on that right wing and not on that left wing where he'll be put left to, and even if Turbo doesn't come back to fullback, if Manly lose another couple of games, they might just put Cooler back into fullback too. And now you're stuck in this fullback roulette in Manly. Yeah. So I think he's a void. If you've held him all this time, I think you definitely, you're very excited and very happy this week. Yeah. But if you've sold him, you don't have him. It's bad luck.
Yeah. Thoughts, Jakey?
Yeah, you know me, I don't like the high break evens. Yeah, I'm all for, mate, apparently. Yeah. So yeah, if you've got him, obviously I wouldn't be selling any players with high break. We're hitting towards the back end of the season, depending on how you're doing well with your trades. I wouldn't be scared of holding the players if they are going to lose money. That's why you kind of want to be looking for those stronger players that you're happy to keep. But in terms of center wings or even fullback positions, with the injury to Fletcher Sharp, I feel like there's a great opportunity. Like he's in the 700. What's his price? He's sitting at 719.
19.
So there's a lot of cash there with Fletcher Sharp, and I think he's in hospital, got a liver or kidney. He's ruptured or something from memory. So he doesn't look like he's in a great way. I think even some family, maybe his girlfriend or whatnot's flown over to Perth as well.
Yep.
So, hopefully he's okay. But, for Supercoach, I feel like he's a pretty easy sell. And when he's in that high or low 700s, it's pretty easy to pretty much pick up a lot of player, like any good player that you kind of need this week. Yeah, I would love to do Sharp to Kiraz, but it won't work for me this week personally. So I'll be selling sharp up to Teddy next week personally, because I'm actually looking just my trades and everything this week haven't worked out with the buys and everything, and I only have 17 before I make trades able to play, and I wouldn't mind just making sure I get my flex in there.
Yeah.
I think you make a really good point, Jake, in the sense that as much as he's a good buy, Jacob Kiraz is probably the more urgent or the more prescient trade. And so therefore there's just no space to buy him this week. Yeah. Unless you've got heaps of money in the bank. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And there's another big money loss guy in Christian Tuipulotu, the money man. Huge break even. I frothed the money man Tuipulotu. Currently at 606k. He's got 114 break even. Yeah, can't really touch him coming back from the hamstring. Obviously, it was the other leg, but my God, when he plays, he's bloody good. I think you got to wait a little bit, but tell you what, he'd be a great pod. I can just feel like he's gonna pop off again, and you want to be there riding it with him. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, fade. Oh, sorry to interject, but yeah,
No, you
fade
go first, Jake.
fade Tui this week, and bring in Gutho, guys. That's the play.
I do want to bring up the trauma, Jake.
I've stuffed up there. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Gutho and Tui go this week.
Yeah, no, look, I just think you can't bring him in because you can't trust his hamstrings. He's, they're very suspect, but they don't have a bad draw necessarily. I mean, they play Para this week, but then they do run into Canberra, Sydney, and the Bulldogs, but then they have the Cows. And so, he could go off, but I think there's more chance he'll get injured than go off. Yeah. Actually, he will go off because he's injured. Yeah.
And Chris, I think you're probably the best guy to speak about this. Latu Fainu, potentially a downgrade option for Munster or Jaden Campbell. Would you look at getting Latu from the Tigers?
Yeah, he's an interesting one because, he scored 64 points last week, and it was like, I think he came off the bench too. He's starting this week at the 7. I think that he's actually a very, very good candidate, especially if you're looking to jump off, if you need a ticket to jump off Jaden Campbell, if you don't believe in him or something like that. Because for the last 2 years, you actually have seen that you can play with one 5/8, whether that was last year, when we had Lockie Galvin, or this year for a lot of players who they've got LKT as that backup. I think if you buy him, I think it probably says more that you don't believe in Jaden Campbell, or either that, or you're trying to use that money to buy another luxury CT dub that you want, that you really want. But in my view, unless you're doing that, I think it's a no from me, dog. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you have any love for Latu, Jakey?
I haven't even looked at Latu at all.
Yeah, 289k, negative 11 break even. Versus Manly this week. Obviously got that halfback position. Won't get the duel because won't be playing there enough.
Yeah.
But now with the news of Dream Buller, you're probably going to get that 80-minute performance as well for at least the next coming month.
I agree.
Definitely spicy.
Yeah, and with Gavin leaving the Tigers as well, surely Latu is one of their halves, essentially, moving forward. He's kind of always been that guy on the up for them, but just kind of hasn't really had his opportunity yet. So, yeah, if he, I guess with Buller obviously missing out now, he might, come out hot and firing for them. Show Benji that he definitely is the right man to lock down that spot. I guess it just depends on how you're looking for your 5/8s, because the Tigers are playing that round 18. So personally, I definitely don't mind it. Could be a bit of a sell, save you some money. You don't necessarily, need to run 2 5/8s this year. Definitely not. But for me, I'm running Munster and Metcalf, and I don't consider see myself selling either one of those boys.
Yeah, fair. I'm similar position. Like, if I didn't commit to Munster or JC many weeks ago, I probably would have jumped on Latu this week. Like, obviously, such a low price, huge upside. Very similar in regards to Christian Tuipulotu regarding his hamstrings. He's quite injury prone in his young career. So that's obviously a bit scary as well, but huge upside. which also helps Jerome Luai as well. And then obviously know how good Luai can be when he's got someone helping him around the park. Yeah, just I think he's like a 5'8", 4, 5. So I guess if you're looking for that downgrade, yeah, sure, or a sideways trade potentially from KLT King Tongia, yeah, like that, but otherwise not really. Especially he's not going to get that dual position that definitely deters me for sure.
Ryan, we know that Luai can be like a really good player when he's got someone helping out. Was that a reference to last Wednesday? You might agree with it if that's what you were suddenly referencing to.
He had a single-legged Cleary, and Luai looked like the best half out there. So I don't know how much that says about him, but yeah, Cleary. And that's another one too, boys. I'm talking about players to look and buy, but may as well. It's a good segue for Cleary. Yeah, concerning because he obviously literally said that he heard a pop in his groin. Heard mixed readings and hearings regarding what he's going to be. Obviously named this week, but very concerning in regards to his play, being a kicker as well. At 764K, he's got 116 break even. He's obviously got the Bulldogs this week, which was a very tough matchup, pardon me. And then he's got Origin duties coming after that. Now, Jakey, would you sell Cleary if you were in that position, or you just like set and forget, low trade sort of vibe?
Yeah, so I do have Cleary, and I've been an avid man behind holding on to him. He's definitely the best halfback in the game, and when Cleary's on, honestly, yeah, he's a man you definitely need to have in your team. Injury scares, though, it sucks. It definitely can change everything, but I can't see the Panthers risking Cleary if they don't have to. They're coming up against first place Dogs. It's at Combank, so I wouldn't say really a home game for either team, essentially. But the Panthers did a good job on the Warriors this weekend just gone. So, and that was with all their Origin stars out. If there was concern there, like you'd be resting Cleary if you're Ivan. So for me, I'm still holding. Once again, it's a lot of money there, but if something does go wrong and he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, yeah, you won't get too many more games out of him, but at least he can kind of turn into maybe that pod player going into the finals of Supercoach and everything like that. So for those that have held, which is myself, over the past month or so, ever since Origins kind of kicked off, I'd continue to hold him.
Yep. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, no. I think it's also been reported that he's not goal kicking this week, and Dylan Edwards is probably going to be doing it as well. But I'm in total agreement with Jake. You at this point, if you've sold him, you're really, really pleased that you sold him. But if you've held all this time, you've got to keep him, and you just have to pray that he comes back okay and gets through Origin unscathed. Because, like I said 2 weeks ago, his draw right after Origin is insane. He plays Parramatta, Souths, West Tigers, Titans, and then Newcastle. And if he gets back, if his groin comes good, he's going to be scoring big points for sure. But obviously this week, yeah, definitely a lot of concern, especially because he's not been getting a lot of the try assists. He's really been going up by 8. He's getting a try contribution and then he's kicking that goal. But if he's not, then he's going to go up by 4 this week, and it's already going to be hard enough to score against the Doggies. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, again, I think for me personally, boys, I echo what you're saying. I think you just got to hold him. Don't have the trades to go to anyone else. And again, we sort of talked about this last week, Jake. Who are you going to? Like, we're talking about Isaiah Katoa, Nico Hines. Can't touch him. I refuse to touch him. I don't care if he popped off in the 150. I refuse to touch him. Oh, I absolute smoky chat. I heard like some people were saying, you should be playing lock. I'm like, that's crazy. Don't know about that. Double mouth guard vibe. But yeah, who else? There's no one else. So you may as well just hold him.
Yeah.
You may as well hold him.
Yeah, if Nathan, let's say, were to go down this week, or he does play game 3 and he gets injured and there's an escalation to his injury, something I would consider is turning him into like someone like Jake Elliott, who's just a 198 nuff at the Roosters. Turn him into that 5'8" halfback nuff. For me personally, it would work. I'd have Luke Metcalf, who's also a dual. Gives me that opportunity for that little backup to be able to swap him around and provide that coverage. So yeah, that's if obviously Nathan does go down with something bad and were to rule him out for the season or anything like that. But yeah, to your point, Ryan, there isn't really anyone great to go to except for Hines, which I know you won't personally go to him, Ryan, but I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there that would definitely be probably looking. If you don't have Hughes, you'd go Hughes. If you don't have Hines, you'd probably go Hines. So
you bought him, didn't you, Chris? You went back to Hines.
Yeah, I did actually. I'm like, I'm not upset about it. Actually, I was disappointed against the Dragons, because I was spouting out all these stats where he's going to go 140, and the reason why because he always pops off. And what did he score? Did he score like something like 50? Oh man, it was just.
I warned you, brother. I warned you.
But look, he's 600k at the moment, and he scored 90 last week. Like any other 600k player, and he scores 90, you're so over the moon. You're so happy. I think we're just upset that because what he could be and what he was in the past, and anything just looks. It's just you go, he's not the player he once was, but he's still a really good player. He's averaging like still 75 or something like that. Yeah. Let me just double check. Yeah, he's averaging 70 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so frustrating. So that's good Cleary chat, boys. Now another big boy for Origin, and he is a very big boy, Tino Fasul-Malawi. I'm holding. Again, one of those guys. He's got that sternum issue currently. He's at 624k. He dropped cash last week. He's got 126 break even this week. More than likely going to be dropping more cash. You'll probably get him for high 500k next week, which is pretty wild, almost back to starting price. Yeah, Jake, as a fellow Titans man, what are your thoughts on Tino? Would you sell? Would you just hold him?
Yeah, I'm personally in the hold boat as well, but I can definitely understand if people are selling him. He just isn't in great form either. I know he was like the cheapest he's probably ever been on Supercoach with that 540 or whatever he was to start the season. And I think a lot of people saw that opportunity to grab Tino early on. They've held him for a very long time. So he's made people money regardless. But yeah, we all have heard, I think, that he's carrying that sternum injury. And yeah, he's just not getting us big points week in, week out. The only plus is that he's dual. So you can kind of use him between your front row and your second row. Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. He's obviously out next week. After both game 1 and 2 of Origin, he seems to be absolutely beaten up as well. I think he got like a cheek kind of knock from Liam Martin, I think, in one game. And yeah, he's just coming out battered and bruised. And yeah, he's always going to back up. He's the captain of his team. And we know the effort's there, but at the end of the day, we're looking for super coach points as well. And I definitely understand the sell, but for me, I'm holding. I'm actually looking to sell AFB this week instead of Tino. And that's purely based off, the only thing is that Tino has that dual. That's probably the only reason that, AFB is the one that might be disappearing for me this week into enough.
Interesting. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, no, actually, Jake, you make a really, really good point in terms of maybe considering to sell him, actually. Yeah, I'm also, just because I don't have to trades this week to sell him, it would have been awesome if we could have sold him at 750. I think that's what stops a lot of people as well. They feel like they could have sold him at 750, but now he's 600, 620. Okay, that sternum injury, is really concerning. But I think, at this point in time, I think it's one of the luxuries you can just hold him, and then just don't have to play him, I mean, if you are, and here's the thing, like, I don't think anybody is at the moment lacking from enough gun forwards or 2 RFs. I'm sure most people have Aaron Clark, your Haas, May. I don't know if there's anybody that you can really buy specifically that you want to buy. Yeah.
And especially with Keon getting that duel next week at round 18, just another luxury you can switch around. And again, you only need two front rowers, and May and Haas are just lock and load every single week. So you definitely have that luxury of just not even playing him if you don't want to. And I think this week, my current setup, he's not getting played for me. So, and again, we'll go through that shortly. But yeah, again, had the luxury of so many duels this year, makes it a lot easier. Now, there's another guy I wanted to talk about, boys, Jermaine Asako. So obviously he popped off a couple of weeks ago, getting that huge score. He's currently valued at 726k with 101 break even. He's versing the South Sydney Rabbitohs and has got the bye next week. What are your thoughts, Chris, on Asako?
Yeah, I'm holding him. I want to keep him for the Rabbits. Yeah, because that they leak points regularly. He could go very, very big. So, and I need him this week as well. I don't have enough center CT dubs this week, so he's staying.
What about you,
Yeah,
Jakey?
I think if you're loaded up with cash, you're pretty spoilt for trades. You got numbers next week, and for whatever reason, you don't have Herbie, make the upgrade maybe. Yeah, just for shits and gigs, essentially. But yeah, everyone's obviously concerned for numbers this week, numbers next week, all that kind of stuff. It seems to be a few people struggling this week around the grounds. So I know for me personally, as I said, if I don't make any trades, I've only got 17 playing. So yeah, I even need Jermaine Asako this week, let alone next week or the week after, round 19, because I know he's on the bye next week. But yeah, he's a hold. Yeah, Dolphins once again are looking great. Who knows? They might start going a bit more right because they got that familiarity with Avarillo and Asako on that right edge. Bostock's gone. I think it's Junior Tupou has moved into that left winger. Yep. So yeah, but at the same time, Herbie might even go huge again now. He might be like, sweet, I've lost my man Jack on outside me. And yeah, he might go back into that dummy and run, just hold it and go through himself. So yeah, but I am holding Jermaine as well.
Again, without converting, it helps a lot because again, he might not get any ball, which I feel like has been the past week and a half or 2 weeks or past 2 games. He's had no ball and he's still getting pretty good scores overall. I think now with Bostock out, they're probably going to lean to go right a little bit more. That'll be very interesting. And obviously when Hammer goes back to Origin, we're going to see Avarillo back to fullback. Who will play centre? Do we know when Avarillo goes back to fullback?
Max Figo. That's how you say it. Yeah. They've done the same for both games so far, so I don't see any change.
Yeah. And you got Junior Tupou there as well. Oh, hang on. No, sorry, he's already there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair call. Boys, is there anyone else you guys want to talk about before we get into some other chat?
Personally, nothing from me. Like I said, I'm really struggling to find other trades to get. And I think I'm kind of keeping round 18 and round 19 at the forefront of my mind. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've just honed in on bringing in some cash this week through enough. And I want Kiraz. I really want Kiraz in my team. So yeah, I'm really struggling to look elsewhere and provide any other context, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, fair call, mate.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't overthink it. It's like what we've all been saying. There's not much to it this week. It's buy Kiraz, save a trade, or hey, nuff somebody out, to get ready for round 18, round 19 for the game, for the run home, really.
Yep. Yeah, I second that, boys. I'm trying to find players of interest or guys to hold us up. I think it's pretty common sense. Like guys like Alex Johnson, I think if he didn't pop on last week, he's probably not the guy to get anymore. Zach Hosking, I think because he's playing round 18, he's definitely a hold. Could potentially look at selling in round 19. But again, until Origin's really done, boys, it's pretty much hold, pray for the best, make a trade to just get to 13 to 14 players. And then, now we really get to play Super Coach at round 19. So I guess, boys, I think we go straight into captains. Now, for me personally, I've just gone big dick energy here. I've just gone straight Kiraz, VC, Herbie Farmworth, C.
Oh,
I need
That's
to climb
nice.
the top
Look,
1%.
I really like that. Did you end up putting the VC on Herbie last week?
Nah, bitched out. But guess what? My B team, in other words, my better team with Laura, her team's absolutely stacked. And she VC looped Herbie last week.
Yeah. I swear there was another bloke who told you to do that. I can't recall. But yeah, look, that's great. I'm definitely considering the VC on Kiraz. I'm also considering Turbo and Garrick are two that I'm actually floating on as well, just for a bit of a pod play there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to have them both on that right edge. I'm ready. Turbo's I feel like a big risk because he's just not looking the same. But Garrick Turbo combination, that's so dangerous. They're at home. They've had the rest. They've had like essentially 10 days, 14 days to hopefully gel and get themselves prepared. And they're up against, I think, the Tigers. Is that right, Chris?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So not to put down the Tigers anyway, but it's not like the Manly's coming up against Canberra or the Dogs or something, like coming up against like a top 4 team. So yeah, the cheeky Garrick or Turbo is another option for me, and then or just play it safe for like a Haas or a Pappenhausen, like with a C or something like that. So yeah, they're my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna VC either Zach Lomax. He's playing the Dragons this week. His former team. He's been a bee's dick away from scoring a couple of tries. Like last week. Dean Hawkins apparently just has no long ball. He keeps passing to Will Penasini, and Will Penasini scores. He was so close to scoring 100 plus. Ryan Paffenhausen might be also a really good VC this week. 2 o'clock this Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? 2 o'clock this Sunday?
Yeah.
2 o'clock against Sunday. The Sharks. Against Nico. You know how he scores big at home. That's Sunday 2 p.m. And then most likely, I will probably see Drinky. I know every time he hurts me every time, but.
Gold Coast. It could be anything. It could be an absolute demolition, or he could pop off and get 200 points. There's no in between.
There's some crazy ones.
He could get 14 and 33 again. I don't know why I do this to myself, but yeah, I probably would. I shouldn't, but I probably will.
With Cliff in the back, I think.
If you were to VC. If you were to VC, Chris, Pappenhausen, like you're mentioning, are you able to loop if he
100%? Yeah, I got a free loop with Sandon Smith this week on the bye.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so that works for you. Yeah, look, definitely risky, but they are up against the Titans as well, and you just never know there too. So if it was up in North Queensland, I'd probably give you a bit more encouragement. But yeah, it's here in Robina, mate, here at Seabus. So I'd be avoiding the captain on Drinky, I reckon. I reckon Tits are bouncing back this week. They're getting the win, mate. So I know we're putting Tino down earlier. You watched Tino go over for a double.
I'm hoping.
Good. I've got to play him this week. I hope so too.
Bring back Bowie. Bring back Fermor. So
goal kicking Fermor might I add. Weaver.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, Fermor with the converting was wild. Like they got no one else. That's crazy. The only thing I'll say about the Pappenhausen VC, the Sharks are like notoriously good at defending fullbacks and like essentially minimizing their impact for Supercoach. That does scare me, but Amy Park, obviously, yeah, and they're gonna go big. You can just feel they're due to like just connect There've been so many times the past like 3 weeks of just fluffed the ball going forward, or knocked the ball. Like Pappenhausen essentially had 2 forward pass / knock on opportunities where he could have scored last week. Yeah, I don't hate it, but yeah, the Melbourne boys we talked about it earlier. There's just they share the ball too well. They're too selfless to like go 150 every single week. So actually, Pappenhausen, yeah, it's scaring me, especially when the Origin boys are there. The turbo shout though,
It's
and I think
scary not being on him though too.
yeah, it is 100%. He's definitely a 50-50 call, but I actually love that turbo shout, Jake. I think simplifying his game and just playing at center, and he knows he can just. I know he looks like he's not running hard because he's doing a bit of a handbrake, but I feel like the game's simplified now a little bit. Doesn't have to do as much running, so he can just literally just take the line on and just have a crack. It's very risky. It's very pod. I do like it. I do like it a lot, but I don't have the balls after last week putting the VC on him. Just can't do it.
Yeah, right now I actually have it on Garrick. I'm hoping that, yeah, like Garrick's the goal kicker. If Turbo is the one scoring all the tries, hopefully Garrick is slotting them. And Turbo is going to be that deadly, he's going to be throwing try assists, and hopefully Garrick's the one that is the one going over. So
Yeah.
like DCE's a right edge player. Yeah, Turbo and Garrick are there. Could just be as simple as just putting a high ball to Turbo.
Yep.
So yeah, there's so much potential there. Definitely too risky for a captain on either of them for me. But yeah, put in the blue tag on them. Yeah, I definitely don't mind it.
Yeah. It's scary.
I don't
It's
think you
so
can touch
scary.
Turbo. I don't think you can touch Turbo until he actually shows you big points at some point. Like every week we've been doing this, and he just he keeps disappointing. And I'm a little bit worried that now that Ola's out as well. You know, a lot of times they hang off Garrick because they don't know if DC will just drop it short to Garrick. Sorry, to Ola. But now that Ola's not out there, I think they're going to know that they're going to pass out to Turbo. And I think it was last week or the week before. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago when I think he was trying to go for the try line. He just got bundled down to touch. Like Turbo from like 3 years ago definitely scores that. Yeah, he just doesn't seem to have his legs at the moment, sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting desperate though, Chris. That's the problem for me, mate. When I've had like 3 losses in a row or something now,
yeah,
I got to try something. So yeah. I'm clutching at straws.
But on the flip side, sometimes when you're a hole, the first rule of holes is stop digging.
True.
Yeah, look at that. So I'm just asking for another shovel. So.
Oh, boys, I think it's pretty much a wrap there. We got any final words, Chris?
Nah, happy super coaching. I'm proud of us. Under an hour.
Yeah, it's
this week. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jake
definitely
and I popped off for 2 hours last week.
Yeah, there's too many buying opportunities last week. Like I said, yeah, I'm really struggling. Yeah, just got to keep in mind those injuries. They just seem to be coming in hot and fast. For those people that are looking at the cheapies of like Jed Stewart, here's the super cheapie kind of one that if you're looking for some points over the next two weeks or something, he can provide. And then, but yeah, Karapani, he's the one who's going to make you a lot of money, I feel. So if people are chasing that, but yeah,
Yep.
I don't think I've got too much really.
Yep. Okay, boys, we'll quickly sum up my trades this week. I've gone Kiraz in, Karapani in, and I've got VC on Kiraz and Herbie Farmworth as my captain. Chris, who you got? What are your trades and captain?
I'm trading out Sharp for Kiraz. I'm probably going to nuff out Mamazulis before he loses any money. And Drinky, please. Third time's a charm. Surely you got to go big for me this week. Double points.
And Jakey, who you got, mate?
I'm nuffing out AFB at this stage, just into Miles Martin, just got a jewel there. That rate is 198. And through I am selling Sandon Smith And he's the man turning into Jacob Kiraz this week for me at this stage.
Yeah. Nice. Love that. Okay, boys, that's Tackles and Tinnies, episode 9 for the Fantasy Files. Short, sharp this week, but obviously plenty of good conversation. And obviously, I think that Karapani one is either going to be absolute diamonds or a couple of hard coal rocks there. So again, food for thought. I'm locked it in. But happy super coaching, guys. Again, we want to be seen on the algorithm, so we need you guys we need you guys sharing, we need you guys giving out 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But again, interact with us, guys. I'm doing all my best to get to all the platforms and commenting. But if you've got questions for Chris or Jake, or you want to get some shit takes, you just let us know, guys. Happy to share it on the potty as well. Happy super coaching. Up the Titans. See you guys.
See you guys.